Hello, and welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. Crazy. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
That makes me Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And returning, Stuart Wellington from the Flophouse podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Stuart. Thanks for helping
us
break this down. I think usually you're a kind of an anchor. You're late in the movie guy. We usually get to you guy. Kind of like as things are closer to the the climax.
Mm-hmm. We need to bring in the powerhouse energy to keep us going for the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're losing our steam, and we need some heavy hitters here.
I feel like back when you guys did Return of the Jedi, we got the. I was a guest with my co-host Dan and Elliot, and we did the minutes where I think in the same minute both Boba Fett and Jabba the Hutt die. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched that movie. And I think some of our episodes went to the hour and a half mark.
Yeah, it's we could go on in the early days.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on in that sail barge. But not a lot of stuff is going on in this minute.
Yeah, this minute.
This will be not going to be an hour and a half.
Probably not going to be an hour and a half. This is minute 118 of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. 118 starts with Rey lying down watching the laser light show, and it ends with Yoda saying alone. Yoda? Here?
Surely he must be dead by now.
Mm-hmm. So I mentioned I had one note about the space battle, because we do see she unleashes lightning, and Rey is kind of lying there watching it all happen, and we see the famous blockade runner, the Tantive, kind of losing its momentum, got shocked, the engines are down, it's careening. We even get to see into the cockpit a little bit as Nine Num and a couple of other Resistance pilots are freaking out because they're losing their ship. And
are we to assume that this force lightning is causing an EMP effect? Is that what's going on?
Because once it stops, they're fine. So
yeah,
because I would think space crafts would be shielded against lightning bolts. Lightning bolts are a natural phenomena. I guess Sith lightning's different. I'll shut up.
Yeah, that's always fallback. Oh, the Force. Yeah, this is Force lightning.
Yeah,
so therefore it's completely different bird.
Kind of lightning.
Maybe hook him up to a battery.
That would have been the kind of ironic ending, is that they kind of trapped him in something, and he was just for all eternity he was just sitting there zapping force lightning and it's powering the utopian New Republic, the new Republic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the irony is that the New Republic is powered by dark side energy.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Part of a symbiont circle.
But so as we see the ships falling out of the sky, like I said, Nine Nunb, who is really unsung hero, utility player for the rebellion, because say we need a co-pilot for the Millennium Falcon, all right, and then Force Awakens, all right, we need some X-wing pilots, all right, good, grab him in there, and this hey, we need somebody to fly the classic Leia's ship, quote, as they keep saying. This classic Star Wars, you can fly that too. He can fly anything, it seems like. So unsung piloting legend, Nine Nunb.
There doesn't seem to be. It seems like at their heart, every spaceship is basically flown the same way, because Rey has gotten behind multiple ships and been able to fly every. At no point is everyone be like, "Boy, I know how to fly an X-wing," but this is an entirely different kind of flying altogether.
Yeah, I think the European Union put down some standards that they require everyone to follow when designing a spaceship cockpit.
Yeah. So it's easier now. Yeah, kind of simplified it for everyone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But let me once again make a quick reference to Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, expanded edition by New York Times bestselling author Ray Carson. Though we see this stuff, all the ships kind of getting deactivated. We see a little bit from Poe's point of view, and he's like, oh no, like we're failing again. It was hubris because he was like, this day just keeps getting better and better, and all of a sudden, and everything gets shocked out of the sky. But he specifically is like, oh no, there goes like the Tantive for Leia's ship, and he was like piloting it. He specifically calls out. He's like, and Nine Num, he had known Nine Num since he was a child. No, he had known Nine Num his whole life. That's the specifically. And so Poe is like, I've known that guy my whole life, and look, there he goes, falling to his death.
Wow.
So he has a little moment.
Yeah, that's
a little
pretty
moment.
Sad. Yeah, we call them moments. Yeah.
But yeah, this whole scene has a kind of like we point out the new kind of when Star Wars uses new filmic language, when it's like doing things, shots and or sound elements that it hasn't used before, editing techniques, whatever. When it's like and this is kind of that, like seeing the close up of somebody kind of watching what's going on as you get. I think we did it once before in this, to a certain extent, within this movie, but it's before this, we don't really get to see that kind of, focusing on one character as they're witnessing what's going on before. I think, and it's not unwelcome. It's an interesting new addition to, the language of Star Wars film, but it's not something.
Yeah, go ahead, Stuart, ask your question.
I'm just going to say, the whole, kind of her situation slips away a little bit, and she's left with these images, and then, of course, voices in her head.
Right. And kind of zooming through it, like leaving the scene, we're not... It is, in a sense, her point of view, but not at the same time that she's kind of transcending through this lightning stuff back into space. So it's kind of like her mental point of view. It's like where she's at mentally, but not really something that's physically represented, which again is unusual for Star Wars, but welcome here. It works in this scenario.
Do you think that J.J. Abrams et al. Are conscious of this? Like, are they doing a shot and being like, they've never done this, and I don't remember ever seeing this in Star Wars? Or are they just kind of like, we're just making the best movie we can, regardless of whether or not George Lucas or any of that, whether it was, specifically with the cinematography, not leave aside the script and the characters and all that stuff, but do you think they think about that stuff?
First off, as much as I've stated my appreciation for most of this movie, I think it's bold of you to say that they thought they were making the best movie they could.
Well, given the situation, I'm sure they were saying, yes, we were rushed, it was there, but,
But yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't like the movie. You like the movie. I don't like it, but I will say, I feel like everyone was at least trying,
Yeah.
Well, except when they were lazy.
I don't know if it goes that way. I think, knowing specifically, I think J.J. Abrams is drawing on, like all filmmakers, he's drawing on shots kind of, in his head, the kinds of things that he's seen before. And it's, just like original Star Wars was drawing on, a lot of movies that George Lucas had seen. And the other ones, the Last Jedi was drawing on stuff, a different pool of stuff that Rian Johnson had seen than, JJ's more. But I don't know if he's consciously saying, we'll do this because it's never been in a Star Wars before, but I think he's doing like, we'll do this kind of a shot. And then it might come up like, I don't think we've ever seen that in a Star Wars before. And that might be encouraging, but I think he's more just
nerd.
Like, It's George Lucas visiting the set. Like, actually, we don't do that in Star Wars. Somebody get this guy out of here.
All right, Beardo. So most of this minute is taken up by Rey's inner... not monologue exactly, inner lecturing, like forces from beyond are lecturing her and nagging her to stand up, get up, you loser,
stand up straight, come on, look at you,
etc.
Yeah, we get a lot of voices, some of which I recognize, some I didn't. Do you guys have a list of the voices?
Well, I got a list of all the voices, and I was writing them down and transcribing, and I'm like, these better not all be in the novel, or I'm going to kick myself in the head. Pete can just read them all off, and I'm in the handwriting every single thing. Pete, what do you have on your end?
Well, when I watched this, and I'm like, I wonder, I recognize some of those voices. Who are those? And I went and I looked in the, the expanded edition of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, by New York Times bestselling author Ray Carson, and I was like, maybe this will help. And I went and it's like, basically sets it up like, Rey is, she goes, finds herself, beyond the lightning, among the stars, and then, she heard a voice, and then she heard voices, and
Beyond the lightning.
She didn't recognize
Beyond
them
the
all, says the narrator. And so,
Same.
no, they don't even list one. I don't think they don't say anybody specifically. I did go in my head. I was like, this is an Alex Robinson thing that he'll find these all. But I did go and find a site that I at least jotted down some of the names so I can.
And this one sounded a little like Yoda, and this one sounded like this other guy.
Well, I think this is roughly in chronological order.
Okay.
And it spills over until tomorrow's minute, so I forget where the line is. Like you said,
Right.
Yoda, and then Yoda, so I'll stop at Yoda, and we'll pick
Okay.
it up again tomorrow. It starts off with Ben Kenobi. These are your final steps, Rey. Rise and take them. So
Now-
they keep using rise. Is it like the bread? Remember that bread she made in Force Awakens?
yeah.
That like instant
Rise.
thing.
Yeah.
And then Annie. You
Well-
have a comment? You have a comment, Pete?
Well, with the Obi-Wan stuff, they use the same trick that they used in The Force Awakens when she touched the lightsaber and she got some of these little Jedi vocal visions. They isolated Alec Guinness.
McGregor?
No, they got Ewan McGregor to
Oh.
say it, and they took Alec Guinness dialogue, and I think it's when he's saying "afraid," and they snipped it down until just to like Ray. So he's like afraid, and they just cut out the Ray part, and they use that in Force Awakens. They use it here of Alec Guinness saying like Ray, like it's like
Hilarious.
My name is Judge.
yeah, exactly. So
That's really funny.
So it's double Obi-Wan. It's Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness in this. So.
And I like also that it fosters Alec Guinness, who was embarrassed by Star Wars. He continues to be
I'm gonna keep digging him up.
presence in it. Speaking of digging people up, Annie Annie Skywalker, little Annie Skywalker chimes in, bring back the balance, as I did.
Yeah, just do what I did. That worked out great. And all the other Jedi being like, wait a minute.
Well, and also, doesn't it? I thought there was some dispute as to whether he was the one bringing balance to the Force, or whether it was Luke who brings balance to the Force by saving Vader. But now Annie's just claiming it. You might as well, right? Would they argue with you?
That's a very Anakin move.
I think some of the other voices in the room might argue and be like,
Next up, we have a good old Ahsoka for a current superstar of the Disney Plus show. But you might just say,
Ahsoka.
that doesn't sound like Rosario Dawson. It's not. It's, of course, Ashley Eckstein from the Clone Wars and Rebels cartoons. And she says, Rey. I like the idea that they brought her into the studio just to go, Rey. And then,
Very
and then-
Toast of London.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yes.
I know Pete was excited to hear Kanan chime in. Kanan from the Rebels cartoons. He says, in the heart of a Jedi lies their strength. It's all very basic kind of stuff, It's all very kind of like Jedi 101 material.
well, that's how much of it do we think was specifically procured for this film, and how much of it was we had an outtake of them saying something kind of Jedi-ish, so we went with it.
I feel like if you're spending money on a cameo, you deserve a slightly more personalized message than what Rey is getting right now.
Yeah. Oh, you think they did it through Cameo?
Yeah, they got it all through cameo.
Isn't it? I think they just called up Ashley Eckstein and say, Ashley Eckstein, what was the name of the girl in the new Star Wars movie? She's like, Rey? All right, thanks.
Right, got it. Move on.
$25. Bye.
Yeah.
Wasn't there talk that at one point, that we were all going to see all these people too? Like they were all going to be Force ghosts kind of around her? I thought that was at one point discussed, and then they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Which is funny because, what?
That would have been more effective than what we get, I think. I think if we actually saw them, I feel like that would have added something to this moment, personally. What do you guys think?
I think if they could have pulled off the visual effects, because a recent superhero movie attempted a similar let's all bring back a bunch of people from the past movies things, and it looked horrifying and fake and terrible. It looked like, so...
I actually haven't seen that superhero movie, but I have seen clips from it, and it looks garbagey.
So we maybe dodged a bullet.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
We don't know.
But now I am like going way off the rails. I think it would be interesting the way that he says, I'm all the Sith, and then later she's kind of drawing from all these Jedi, to have them all like have a bunch of red ghosts on one side and blue ghosts on the other, all standing around them in a circle, like a playground fight or something, like like
that Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns and Homer were in the cabin and they both summoned ghosts to remember one. Anyway.
Right.
Also, one thing I think interesting is I don't think at this point Ray would not identify any of these voices. She has not met any of these characters that we know of. I'm sure they'll do
of the ones that you've listed so
story
far,
where Kanan stopped by and whatever. But
right.
Luminara
Unduli
is the next
who's that
person. She is one of the Jedi and the Jedi Council who had kind of like flat, like her hair looked like flat ribbony kind of things. Anyway, you wouldn't know her from.
She's kind of green. It looks like she's wearing like a headscarf. Luminara.
Oh yeah, you're right. I was thinking of
Adigala.
Adigala. You're right. Yeah. Luminara is she's green and she wears like robes and has kind of like tattoos on her face or whatever.
Oh, cool. Okay, she's got a little mouth tattoo. Looks like she threw up a little.
Yeah, looks like
cool. Yep, she's a cool character.
Looks like she ate a pair of Vans and got some on her.
Mm-hmm. The actress who played her in the prequels, not consulted. They got Olivia d'Abo, who does the voice of her in the various cartoon shows. The big guns come out. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Which d'Abo is that the same Wonder Years d'Abo, or is that a different d'Abo?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm looking it up.
I never really watched Wonder Years. Was she the sister on Wonder Years?
Yeah. One of them, there was a d'Abo. It was either Miriam or...
I think that's her. I think Olivia d'Abo was the sister.
Wait, from the one from Conan the Destroyer?
Oh, yeah. I have not seen that in so long.
She would have been like a little kid back then.
100%. That's Olivia d'Abo. No, she's born in 1969. Yeah, and she's like, I had such a huge crush on her in Conan the Destroyer. She plays the princess in it. I mean, she's young, but like, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
It is
that's
all these
pretty cool,
things.
Guys.
Wonder Years, Conan the Destroyer, and
that's
Next
the
Generation.
I remember.
Yeah, there you go. Look at that.
Point of no return.
Wait, so who? Oh, Miriam d'Abo was in the one of the Timothy Dalton James Bonds, I think. She was the cellist. Remember when they slide down the hill in the cello case?
Are they related?
Yeah, they're sisters, I believe.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Of the Michigan d'Abos?
Could be wrong.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinn chimes in. Every Jedi who ever lived lives in you. We stand behind you. He says.
Does this? So when was this recorded? Was this recorded for this movie, or is it a sound alike? Is it actually? Liam Neeson?
It is Liam Neeson. It is credited as Liam Neeson.
Oh, that's cool. It's not as good as his line from is it Attack of the Clones where he says Anakin. No.
Yeah.
When Anakin was killing all those Tuskens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's great.
Not just the men either.
Yeah.
No, all of them.
Mace Windu.
Well, backing up to Qui-Gon for a second, we've been in my household. We've been going through a very. We've been spending a lot of time in Narnia. We've been going through a Narnia phase here, reading the books, and we watched some of the movies and the original kind of the BBC adaptations. But the Qui-Gon himself, Liam Neeson, is the voice of Aslan in the movies that they made a few years back, and so that's whenever I'm reading the books, I'm usually doing kind of a Qui-Gon.
Give us a taste.
Kind of a thing when I read the Aslan line, and so when I heard this, I was like, wait a minute, why is Aslan in here? Like I'm into all the Jedi, including Aslan. I was like, oh right, Qui-Gon.
Well, let's hear it.
Aslan's kind of a Jedi. Yeah, give us a little taste. What's he sound
now
like?
that I say it, now it's going to be like, I kind of do a Liam Neeson voice. I'm going to do it, and you're going to be like, that sounds nothing like it. But to my kids, they don't know no better. So
Little tip for our listeners: on the weekend show, I will try to pressure Pete into doing it. So there's a little teaser for you, Patreon.
I'll grab
Sign
an Narnia book.
That's your Patreon show. That's all about the Taken movies, right?
Right. Yeah.
Ayla Secura. Who's that, you wonder?
Yes.
She is the Twi'lek one with the midriff exposed that we see in Revenge of the Sith. The Twi'lek,
she looks like
the Lady Twi'lek.
A blue Flashdance Jedi.
Cool.
Yeah. I feel like they brought in a bunch of third string lady Jedis because they're like, well, Rey's a lady. It shouldn't just be like Kit Fisto and
So we're gonna get Yaddle in here, right?
No Yaddle.
If only this had been, because they did the thing after the Jedi. What was it? Tales of the Jedi. No, what was the animated series where we got a Yaddle episode?
That's right. And it was voiced by Bryce Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah.
BDH.
Yeah, I think she.
But
Director Bryce Dallas Howard
reduced to being Yaddle.
But that would have been nice to have her in here. But this was obviously filmed before that was made. So
yes,
this should go back.
Anyway,
to a special
Ayla
edition
says,
of this.
"Let it guide you," she says. Mace Windu, feel the Force flowing through you. Mother effer. I threw that in.
Yeah, well, and she's about to do a Mace Windu move. Spoiler alert for a future minute, but she does classic Mace Windu reflect the lightning. So I think she listens to him a little bit.
Yeah, not so much Anakin.
It's ironic that he's saying let the Force flow through you when Mace's move and her move is to block the, you know what I mean?
Block and deflect.
Mace should have been like, actually, he should have been like, lift your lightsaber up. It'll make him get old.
Yeah.
Adigala, she's the one I was talking about before. The one who was like the kind of the ribbon hair.
Yeah, like
okay.
What's that called? Like succulent head. So it's like she's wearing like a succulent on her head. Like little like paddle things coming off of her head. Yeah.
And the last one we hear at the end is Yoda saying, "Rise in the Force." Rise. And we never heard Rise mentioned in any of the other lessons before, other than Rise, Darth Vader. Which is probably not what they were going.
When Herb Alpert was there playing, we heard that.
It's true. Or PIL.
Oh wait, so I have one more on the list. Now, are you saving it for tomorrow?
So I don't know if I should discuss it today.
I didn't know if it went through that, but we'll save that for tomorrow, I guess.
Okay. I find this whole thing, it made me feel very cringy.
Yeah.
I don't, and it's I don't know why. Maybe because it seems so obviously like we're trying to tug on your, I don't know. There's something about it that just.
Well, and it's a reinforcement. It's also like reinforcing the intellectual property of it.
Oh, right.
Like, remember all these characters from the other Star Wars things you like? Well, they think Rey should win.
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's part of it.
Do you think it would have been more effective if in this moment Rey, like, looked back on her own life or her own experience and had some kind of a flashback moment, or we had a callback to situations that she has faced earlier in this trilogy, as opposed to just throwing in rando characters from the series. Not to play Monday morning quarterback.
Like a little montage.
But that's what we do here.
With maybe use the "In My Life" by the Beatles as she's kind of going through remembering how things were going, like early on, when she met BB-8 and all this other stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Have you guys ever seen those Christian drawings where they show like people in various professions and Jesus is assisting? Like they show a surgeon cutting, and then the Jesus is standing behind, like holding a sponge, and they show
like the one
and there's
like the one with the junkie who's shooting up and it's Jesus's arm instead, like taking the hit. And I'm like, wow, Jesus is like fiending for a fix.
So that's what they should have done here. They should flash back to various points in Rey's life where she thought she was using the Force, and then you'd see a Force ghost like lifting up all the rocks, or you'd see the various Force ghosts who have been helping. Force ghosts
sounds
who've
great,
been helping her all along.
That goes back to our idea of like. Did Obi-Wan just like sit in the cockpit and take over for Luke basically when he blew up the Death Star? Was he sitting
exactly.
Like, I've got this, don't worry, hang on.
So no Yaddle, as mentioned, no sassy teen, no Leia. Never a Jedi, does not get to be in the Force Ghost.
Weird. I wonder why JJ ignored a key element from a previous movie.
Well, it seems like with all the stuff that they were, they had no qualms digging up old Leia footage to use for stuff. You think they would have like one outtake or something that they could have thrown in there.
She certainly said Rey several times.
Yeah, they had a relationship, so that would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do we get much Luke, or is that in the next minute? Does he?
Luke shows up in the
That's-
next minute.
Okay. And
That was the one
then
we were
It's hard to
keeping behind the
identify him
curtain,
as
so.
Luke. He sounds very different.
Yeah.
Go
yeah.
ahead.
yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, yeah, there's like I don't know. No Leia. That's stupid.
So yeah, given that list, it's not surprising that Rey didn't recognize them all. I think she's
Any
only,
of them.
yeah, she's only met none of those people. But I'm assuming that she's getting the gist of who they are from the Force or something like that. But we'll find out.
So Ki-Adi-Mundi wasn't in there either. That's kind of lame.
Yeah, no, he was busy. Remember, he's the only surviving male member of his species or something, right? Is that why he had to call
That
in?
sounds
To
right.
his,
Yeah.
But even as
Yeah,
a
if you
ghost,
start-
Force ghost, he's coaching other males, I guess, on his planet, and he's like, "Here's how you do it: stay hydrated." Think
So,
about
Plenty of
Spaceballs.
bananas.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they could say I'm sure they're going to retcon it and say that Rey in the past year established a ghost relationship with all these Jedi, and that's why she's
Yeah.
now inspired by the blah, blah,
When she was
blah.
reading the Jedi texts, so she
Yeah.
probably, read some of their
Crystals.
entries, and yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
And no Christopher Lee, man. That would have been cool.
Yeah, see, we want to see the other side of this. We want to see like when he's like, "I'm all the Sith," we want to have them showing up and being like, mind if I play through? And it's Christopher Lee and Ventress
Maul.
and Darth Maul,
Peter
and,
Serafinowicz.
Yeah, Serafinowicz as Darth Maul. See,
I guess the problem is they all kill their masters, and so none of them have a good relationship with their apprentices. Or
Well, that would have
Yeah.
been. That would have been the ironic twist there. They she's got all the Jedi, he's got all the Sith, and all the Sith also are attacking him because they're like, "You jerk, you double crossed me," and they're all,
And he's like, "What?
Sith.
Game should recognize game."
yeah.
ironic.
All right, well, we do get the final bits of this this auditory hallucination continue until tomorrow. So, I mean, the Rey's, not this show, but Rey's Jedi message here. Stuart, can you come back hopefully tomorrow to help us?
I need
Continue
to
with
find
this?
out what happens. So, yes.
we all do. I mean, it seems like she's just going to kind of fade
here.
into the void while listening to the greatest hits of the previous Jedi. So
Yeah, I assume these is her going to heaven and
Right.
meeting all the.
Like the end of Gladiator.
Yeah.
and
Is that really what happens at the end of Gladiator?
Yeah, he meets all the Jedis.
that's why
Best
Jedi
picture.
Mundi isn't there. That's why there's a bunch of them. They're busy over talking to Russell Crowe.
They're talking to some other Force person.
Yeah. But we'll bring that up tomorrow. I want to come back to that. But in the meantime, if you look behind Alex there's a tapestry. It says Star Wars Minute on it, and you can get that at our store, merch shop at starwarsminute.com/merch. Oh no, Alex has been shot down. I don't know what happened, but if you go to starwarsminute.com/merch, you'll be able to find all kinds of cool Alex Robinson designs and some other stuff. You can get it on mugs and tapestries and shirts and bath mats and skateboards and what have you. So go there, buy some stuff. We'll meet you back here tomorrow on a brand new Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.